All right. Good evening. It's Reverend Jim again with our illustrious crew of people to talk about A Course in Miracles and all things related to A Course in Miracles. So we have, as I said, our illustrious panel of discussion makers here, and we're all ready to talk. So hopefully you all got the agenda for tonight. So let's get going. We've got some things to cover here. First of all, anything any of you would like to share with the group or announce, or any like really wonderful things that are going on and you're amazed and it was a miracle? No. Yeah, we've probably seen so many, we just take it in stride, don't we? I'm thinking about lesson 77 says, I am entitled to miracles. And I think I've been in that zone for a while. So I expect them as a normal part of life. What is that principle of miracles? It says, miracles are everyone's right, and when they're not happening, something is wrong. So I think I'm being normal and just seeing them show up all the time. Speaking of that, let me share screen. I want to show you guys something. It's on the agenda at the very end. I am fortunate enough to be working with the Foundation for Inner Peace. And I'm kind of with the group that's helping to bring their new ACIM audio app to fruition. And the new app was released back in January. And okay, I could go into a miracle story about it, but let me say this. This app right now is only for iPhones, okay? Now, I've used an Android phone all my life. Some of my kids have encouraged me to switch over since I do have an Apple computer, and they said it'll help you integrate things. But suffice to say, through a miracle, my daughter gave me an iPhone about 2 weeks ago. I got it activated. And one of the things that is for this new audio app that I can now use. And I've been experimenting with it for about a week or so now. And it is amazing. Okay. Now, I use the course a lot, right? But this thing is like immersive to where I use the course even more now than I ever did. And for one thing, it's so convenient because, like, I have my earphones on and I'm listening to the course while I can do other things. Or maybe it's easy for me to stop in midday and just do a meditation period. Like, they have these curated prayers. It's kind of like we do on Tuesday when we do our workbook lesson, and then we go into a meditation period. Well, it has these prayers or meditations where it'll start out with some a title or a passage from the course, and then you'll just be immersed into meditation music until you pause the music. So if you want to do a 5-minute meditation or 1 minute or 12-minute, it'll just play the most wonderful meditation music behind this introduction. Do any of you have it yet?
No.
Well,
No,
I highly recommend it. Like I said, right now it's only for iPhones. They are working on the Android version, but it is a subscription service. It runs like, I don't know, $5 a month, or you can do it for the whole year. I think it's $39.99 to do just the 1-year subscription. But keep it in mind and be on the lookout for it. And I'm very impressed with it and doing whatever I can to promote it also, okay? The ACIM audio app from the Foundation for Inner Peace. So that's my spiel about the app. Let me see. Oh, what's next on my agenda? Remember, we're coming to the end of our reading of Charles Anderson's comparison of A Course in Miracles and the 12-step program. Again, my appreciation of Kathleen for introducing that to us. But now we're kind of up to figuring out what we're going to do next. And I'd like it to make it a collaborative venture if possible. And so I sent you guys a document along with the agenda. Let me pull it up here. Well, there we go. And this is a Word version. I think I sent you the PDF, but I wanted to pull up the Word version so I can make notes on it or whatever as we talk. And so here's my assessment of choices as to what we might do next. Can y'all see it okay?
Yes.
Well, you'll remember several months ago, before we started Charles Anderson, we had come together to get Spirit's guidance on reading or studying A Course in Miracles, but not in a traditional way. We asked Spirit, okay, here's this 1,200-page book, and what should we read? And I think there ended up being 5 or 6 groups, and we selected chapters 1 through 6 in the text. And we had just started reading chapter 3, the innocent perception, if you remember that. But we didn't even complete that before we moved on to Charles Anderson. The other thing is that back in maybe December, January, Dee shared with me a writing that she was aware of called Special Messages to Helen. I don't think I needed a question mark there, but a question in the sense of, did you want to look at that one? There are I just numbered them. There are 28 messages, and the study would cover 41 pages in that document. And I just sent you guys an excerpt. I randomly numbered it message 1. It was dated October 5th, 1975, but there are messages, some in 1966, 67, 68, 70s. And I sent this sample to give you a little bit of the flavor of it. I had a chance to read it, not completely, but I agree with Dee. It was quite compelling.
Mhm.
And then we have the option of looking at the Unity and ACIM book. And that's that book by William Heller and Paul Hasselbeck, I believe. And it was a comparison of A Course in Miracles and Unity. So the problem I have, I don't know, with screensavers, I mean, I got the book here, but with screensavers, it's hard to make them show up right. But the problem is I only have the hard copy book. And the other issue is it's 178 pages. I mean, maybe we could pick certain excerpts. But the other thing is that I did find on YouTube a video about this book with it was William Heller that was the speaker at a Unity church, I think in Dallas, and he talked about and attempted to do a summary of the book. It runs about 30 minutes long. So those are 3 choices that I wanted to present. Do you have any other things that maybe we should consider? No?
No.
All right. Well, what are you feeling like?
I'm liking the special messages to Helen.
Okay.
I think that just might be interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that too.
That's what I'd like to do next.
All right. So if I were to just say, here's where we seem to be. Okay, we'll make this a primary one. The other thing I could do, if you like, is
Well, does Ron have a preference? Because we haven't heard from him.
yeah. Well, let me get Ron in here. You finish your dinner there, Ron? You there?
Oh, yeah. It would be okay. I was also thinking about Unity and A Course in Miracles book. I don't know, how much does that cost?
Have you read it?
No, I have not.
If you go on a website called Albrius, ALBRIS, you can order the book, a used book at a discounted price. I think this book I bought a book for my niece and it was like $6.
Really?
Yeah, it's ALBRIS is the
ALBRIAS. That's what
Yeah.
I put here. So how about this? Maybe we can show the video and see if there's enough interest to go out and buy the book. I mean, maybe we could all get these cheap copies at Albrius to support our study. So I'll make a note of that, but the video also is only 30 minutes or so.
Mhm.
Maybe I could show that and see if there's enough interest for us to buy the book and do the whole book. How does that sound?
That sounds good to me.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Works for me.
The thing that I could do is to make special messages our primary project, but maybe spend, I don't know, 10 minutes still working on this oracle reading of the course as well. But I think we have a consensus that will work as our major study, the special messages to Helen. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Yes.
All right. Well, good deal. We took care of that in short order, don't you think?
Mhm.
All right. So what I'll do then is, I think I got that. I don't need to write anything down. I'll close that out. And let's pull up Mr. Anderson, one of our favorite people here. And make that a little bigger for us. Is that good?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I think we were on page 43. I had page 43, like paragraph 4. 1, 2, 3. I'll call that 3. So this is all we have left here.
Yep.
All right. So why don't we see how long this takes? And I don't know, maybe if there's enough time, I can do the video on Unity and A Course in Miracles this evening. Sound good?
Mhm.
All right, so here's the reading order, my friends. I have Kathleen number 1, Joan number 2, Dee is 3, Ron is 4, I'll be 5. We may not need that many readers, but let's just do it, okay? Kathleen, if you get us started.
Sure. Your peace is with me, Father. I am safe. Your peace surrounds me, Father. Where I go, your peace goes with me. It sheds its light on everyone I meet. It brings it to a desolate and lonely and afraid. I give your peace to those who suffer pain or grieve for loss or think they are bereft of hope and happiness. Send them to me, my Father. Let me bring your peace with me, for I would save your Son, as is your will, that I may come to recognize myself.
You want to finish, Kathleen?
Sure. And so we go in peace to all the world to give the message that we have received, and thus we come to hear the voice for God, who speaks to us as we relate his word, whose love we recognize because we share the word that he has given unto us. Lesson 245.
All right. So,
Somehow I've lost that.
pardon me?
I've lost the pictures of everybody. Mine just says Zoom and I don't have the paragraphs either at this point, so I'm not sure what to do.
Okay. It just says Zoom on your screen.
Nice and big, yes.
Are you able to close that window
Or minimize it.
or minimize it?
I'm not sure how to minimize.
Those you use a PC or an Apple computer, or are you
I've
on?
got a PC.
Okay, anybody else use PC?
Mhm.
No, you're all Apple people.
Mm,
Oh, I have a laptop.
Well, mine's a laptop, I should have said.
Okay.
And so how do you minimize on your PC, Kathleen?
Well, I would go up to the top where it says view. Do you, up in the upper right-hand corner, does it say view?
No,
Is
Okay.
this the
You know,
right hand corner? Go ahead, Dee.
the easiest way, not the simplest solution in the moment may be for you to come back in. Just
Go out
leave
and come back in.
okay,
Can
There
you
are
see
ways,
how
but
to
I
do
don't know how to
that?
describe it.
You know,
why don't I do that then?
try coming back in, okay,
Yeah.
Ron?
Okay, thank you, Dee.
All right, we'll see you shortly.
Looks like he can't leave.
We still see you.
Can you,
I don't see you.
All
can you
right.
kick him out, Jim?
If
From
he
your
kicks
end?
him, if he kicks him out, he might not get back in.
Yeah.
Let me get my wife, she knows how to do this stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Hold on,
Okay,
just,
right, we'll wait.
sorry.
You know, it's been so long since I used the PC, and basically somewhere it was a plus sign or a minus sign.
What-
right, but that's not even showing up for him. He has the same problem that Charlene
Yeah,
had
yeah,
last week,
yeah.
where the Zoom screen is blocking
Blocking
the
the
view. So he doesn't even have
actual meeting.
he can't even minimize, I'm sure. He can't see that.
Yeah. I know on mine there's a red dot or a yellow dot.
But he's
to
not even
minimize.
seeing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like some help may be coming forth. And what we want to do is minimize or close that other
Okay, my wife is on now.
window. We
So
understand.
my wife is on.
So,
The other thing we can do is, I can just listen instead of doing the reading. That might be the
Okay,
easiest
well,
thing to
we'll
do.
make that a plan C, and we'll continue reading, and you guys listen and see if we come up with a solution. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So Charles is quoting here from lesson 245. And do you see how it connects with the course as a whole? He says, your peace surrounds me, Father. Where I go, your peace goes with me, and it sheds its light on everyone I meet. It makes me think about lesson 6, which we were on in the Tuesday night group. This week, we start chapter 7 tomorrow night, but chapter 6, the lessons of love, the last section is called the lessons of the Holy Spirit. And it may be notable because it's one of the few places where Jesus letters things. There's letter A, B, and C. Do you recall what letter B says?
be vigilant only
Well,
for, is that the one?
We're close, but that's C. What's
I
B?
don't know. I don't know them in order.
Well,
Sorry.
I applaud the effort. We're almost there. It says, to have peace, teach peace, so you can learn it.
For your Jesus.
All right. So again, I think Charles is picking lesson 245 because it reiterates that if you want to have something, you have to use it. The reason you have to use it is that's how you'll know you have it. It moves from being theoretical into the practical. And how many times do we hear Jesus say in the course, this is a very practical course? We spend time on theory, but the central teaching of this course is concerned with application. And I hear that ringing out again, even so far in as lesson 245 and many other places along the way. Any other observations there? Ron, how you doing, buddy?
I'm fully back. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Thank goodness somebody's got our back, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, our thanks go out to your wife for helping us out with that.
Do you know what she did? No. Okay. I just figured I'd ask.
She was in a hurry.
That
Somehow we logged out and she logged back in with the meeting ID and the passcode.
Yes.
And that's what it took.
okay.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Anything else there? Or Ron, did you hear enough of it to where you might have a comment or say amen and or anything?
Well, I think you were talking about experience. So
Yes.
experience is what we need to do. It's reading about it is not enough.
Right. And
It needs to be experienced.
it is maybe in the introduction to workbook part 2, it starts, words will mean little now. They are but guideposts to get us into the mood or into the zone. But then it goes on to say the central teaching of this course is experiential. And the words serve only as guides to get us out of the gate. But the real teaching is when we prepare you to have these experiences and that they are the central teachings of this course. So once again, I mean, I'm totally impressed by the integrated nature. And you know this yourselves, it's like thousands of words and 1,000 pages, but after you get into it and have done it a while, you start to be able to collapse it to a few certain things and say, oh, wow, it's the same message over and over, but in different forms. So that's my assessment. Jesus says again many times, this is a very simple course. Let's continue. Okay. I have Joan as the next reader. Why don't you do the first paragraph here, Joan?
Okay, I've turned purple again. That's something I don't
that's all
understand
right.
what happens. And
You look good in any color, so I wasn't going to say anything. No worries, my friend.
Mhm.
No worries.
Okay.
And you see,
I am in
spring-
need of nothing but the truth. I sought for many things and found despair. Now do I seek but one, for in that one is all I need, and only what I need. All that I sought before I needed not, and did not even want. My only need I did not recognize. But now I see that I need only truth. In that all needs are satisfied, all cravings end, all hopes are finally fulfilled, and dreams are gone. Now have I everything that I could need. Now have I everything that I could want. And now at last I find myself at peace. Mhm.
and that's from lesson 251, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Do you agree if you're a student of A Course in Miracles or 12 Steps, would you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Completely?
Mhm.
It makes me think of a comment there, somebody. Makes me think of a couple of things. One of them is not from A Course in Miracles. It says, know thyself. And that's the solution to all your problems. And in the Bible, it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things will be added to you. So there's no need to attempt to address these, what we would call illusions, and solve them one at a time. If you would seek the kingdom of heaven, which is truth, all your other issues would be gone. So I've got two. You want me to go on? Lesson 79. Let me recognize the problem. It says problem singular, so that it can be solved. Notice it didn't say, let me figure out what the different problems are as a way to solve them, but the implication is there's only one problem. And then the next day in lesson 80, it says, let me recognize the problem has been solved, awaiting my acceptance, right? Isn't that? It was taken care of. It's not like I'm looking for something in the future. Once I understand what the problem is, I can see that it was taken care of really in a holy instant.
And it actually, never was a problem in truth.
Mhm.
Right. And so if there's never was a problem, the mistake was simply that stuff happened or appeared to happen to where I no longer knew myself. But if I can know myself and the powerful being that I am, by the way, what is the problem? And you'll see references to that throughout the course and into the supplements as well. What is the problem?
It's our separation from God.
I think my thinking that I could be separate from God.
And separate from each other, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
So we have learned that healing is what? It starts with a W, H.
Wholeness.
All right. So the opposite of separation is wholeness or oneness. And it makes me think about our summer study of the Song of Prayer when it talked about true prayer versus the type of praying that most of us have been taught. You know, oh God, I need a new car. Oh God, help get me out of this mess. And so one of the things I remember from that study is it says, do your praying as though you're praying for everyone, that your goals are to be part of a whole, that what I pray about speaks the language where everyone wins. And get away from those little puny things that are just for Jim. And so I see these things corroborated throughout the course and throughout those supplements as well. So to me, I feel very fortunate that I know myself in a different way than I've been taught, and that most people have and are being taught. And it's made all the difference in the world for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my speech on that. I can pretty much make a speech on anything when it comes to, of course, but I'll spare you that, right? Our next reader is D.
This is my holy instant of release. Father, it is today that I am free because my will is yours. I thought to make another will, yet nothing that I thought apart from you exists. And I am free because I was mistaken and did not affect my own reality at all by my illusions. Now I give them up and lay them down before the feet of truth to be removed forever from my mind. This is my holy instant of release. Father, I know my will is one with yours.
Lesson 227. So to me, I think we're at the end. Yeah. I think Charles does a fantastic presentation here. He starts out talking about some commonalities, and then in terms of format, to me, he first focuses on the principles of the 12-step program, and then finally moves into talking about the principles of A Course in Miracles. And I think he's done a great job of doing this alignment. I can't speak from 12-step experience. So, I'm going to accept his word for it. And maybe some of you have done 12 steps. But I feel like he's telling the truth here. What do y'all think?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right. So did you enjoy it?
Very much.
Yep.
Yeah?
Mhm.
All right. So let's do a quick payday and we'll see if we can get this video in. All right. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. All right, Kathleen. And Ron, are you smiling? Are you paying or what, man?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Jody looking good. Kathleen D. And let's see. I'm smiling.
There you go.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get some of this video in, my friends. And maybe a way to do that is, I'm just going to go to my copy of the agenda because I think I have the video link in there. I sure hope so. Oh no, it's not in here, is it? Hold on. I have to talk to myself to keep my head on straight. All right, here's what we're gonna do. All right, I'm gonna stop share so I can cue this up for video properties and that, okay?
Uh-huh.
So give me a sec to do that and optimize for video. And now let's try this link here and see if it works. All right, good deal. So far, so good. Things tend to run slow.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy.
It starts out with a song.
Sunshine in my eyes can make
I'm not
me
so
cry.
sure we can manage this.
Sunshine on the water.
Can you fast forward so we can see more of the video?
Oh, absolutely. Trying to get this thing to show up.
Almost always.
There we
gets
go.
me
And so it starts out with my friend singing here.
If
But if I go more like
day that
invest at the time to
right.
compare the two teachings. But I
And
couldn't find it, and I kept
yeah.
wondering why that hasn't happened.
bear with me,
Someone
with me.
surely
Really, I
would sit
can
down
do
and
this.
compare these. Okay, I'll take that on. So I do a internet radio program every week called Metaphysical Romp 2. I co-host it
Can
with a
y'all
couple
see it
friends of mine.
okay? We
And we
good?
always begin
Yes.
with this affirmation.
Yes.
It's another beautiful day in my consciousness. Will
And
you
that's
join me
Paul
in knowing
Hasselbeck.
it? Let's say it together.
Yes.
It's another
Thank you.
beautiful day in my consciousness. Let's add a little more energy together. It's another beautiful day in my consciousness. Yeah, I can see that. Can you see it in your friends? Look around. It is a beautiful day, right? Yeah. So I'm going to be sharing today about Unity and Course in Miracles, short story. I really started on my New Thought path with A Course in Miracles, and because of that, I found Unity in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And so let's get going. So my background was with Course in Miracles. I loved the teachings. And when I got to Unity Village to study to become a Unity minister, I thought, sure, I'd find something in the archives or in the library where someone actually invested the time to compare the two teachings. But I couldn't find it, and I kept wondering why that hasn't happened. Someone surely would sit down and compare these. Where is it? I want to find it. Why hasn't somebody done this? And then after a period of time, a student came to study. His name is Bill Heller. He's the co-author of my book. And he came into my office one day to talk to me because he knew I had this Course in Miracles background, and we were sharing, and he said the same thing. And I said, I've been wondering that for years. And he said, well, why don't we do it together? Oh, what a great idea. Because what I know, and I want you to know this for yourself, there's a basic thing, that when you keep getting an idea, it's not for somebody else to do. I know some of you don't want to hear that because we get these ideas and we want to go, not me, but remember Moses did that. He did pretty well eventually. So if you're having something that you're wanting someone else to do, it's probably yours to do, so just step up, will you? Because it ain't going to let go. So we started this journey thinking it would take us a year. It took us 8. 8 years to put this little puppy together. So that's sort of the background and the overview. We're going to go into Unity's 5 basic principles. That's a good place to start. So you're going to get a review of that and a little different perspective and the same from Course in Miracles. It's important we look at the distinctions between the two because they're not exactly the same. And then some of the distinctions create a synergy, which is really important. And we're going to wrap it up with just one thing. Just one thing. If you do this one thing, your life will be better. Are you ready to romp? Because this is a romp. Okay, here we go. All right. So I always like to begin with this because the most interesting thing I discovered when I first walked in the doors of Unity Church, besides feeling at home, anybody feel that? Feeling at home, okay, is that I realized that while I was sitting there, the minister wasn't expecting to force feed me a belief system, that she was telling me some ideas, and she didn't want me to check my brain cell at the door or my intellect outside. She wanted to bring it in so we could learn something, okay? And so this is a quote I found from Charles Fillmore in some of the unpublished works. We have to develop in ourselves the capacity to know ourselves, right? Self-awareness, self-knowing is key to spiritual growth. Another can suggest things, which I'm going to be doing today and in my classes, but we have to take the suggestion and apply it to our own understanding. So, do you have your brain cell engaged today? All right, we're going to romp. So when we look at the Course in Miracles and Unity in the big picture, they both use Christian terminology. If you look at our historic writings, the wonderful texts of Myrtle and Charles Fillmore and other writers, we're very Christian in nature, and we've got to really own that. The other thing is that both the Course and Unity use male-centric language. Well, what does that mean? That means that references to God are usually male. But that doesn't mean that our founders or the Course in Miracles are speaking about a male deity or a male God. Myrtle Fillmore famously said in their book, How to Let God Help You, God is not a being with parts like a man. I think she winked there. God is principle. Neither male nor female. So God, in the big picture, is this principle that we use to manifest our lives. The language in both sounds dualistic, but they're really talking about a non-dualistic system. That's why we say there's only one power and one presence. So that means there's not an opposing devil or something against God or against us, but it also says that if there is only one power and one presence, tag, you must be it too. Right? You got to be it, because if you think you have a power that arises and separate from God, then you're in a dualistic system. You with me? Yeah, so when you read that every Sunday, claim it. And then the really cool thing is both use affirmations and denials, which is a major tool. Most of you probably know about affirmations and denials, but in case you're new, a denial is a statement where we renounce the power a belief has over us, or we renounce a power that we've actually given to a belief or thought we no longer want. So this is how we remove our erroneous thinking, so we can use an affirmation to claim the thoughts and ideas we want to replace it. This is how we raise consciousness. We raise consciousness by increasing the overall quality of our thoughts moment by moment. So let's get going. One power, one presence. I just talked about that. In Unity, God is absolute good, everywhere present. I didn't have room to put that long one. In Course in Miracles, we read, God is all in a very literal sense. All being is in him who is all being. So you can see it's saying the same thing. God is everywhere totally present. Principle 2, in the original form, yours is different. I actually like yours better, but this is how it was originally written. Human beings have a spark of divinity within them, the Christ spirit within. Their very essence is of God, and therefore they are inherently good. I think Course in Miracles says the same thing, but says it better. Deep in your mind, the Holy Christ in you is waiting your acknowledgement as you. Did you know that? that there is this Christ presence within you, and it can't force anything on you, so you have to acknowledge it. And what I don't like about the original unity statement, folks, it isn't a drop, it isn't a speck, it isn't a wave, it isn't a spark. If God is everywhere totally present, then that divinity is totally present and available in consciousness at the point of view. It seems like a spark because that's all we're using. You guys are with it. Yeah. Okay, third principle. Human beings create their experience by the activity of your thinking. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Course in Miracles says it this way. Whatever thoughts you accept into your mind has reality for you. It is your acceptance of that that makes it real. All thinking produces form at some level. Have you noticed that? Because that's really, really important to get that our stinking thinking gets us one result, and our enlightened, higher thinking gets us another thought. To me, it's a no-brainer which we really want to choose. So let's talk about prayer. Unity says prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God mind. For me, I wouldn't call it a connection. It heightens my awareness of God mind. Prayer heightens my awareness of it. You can never be disconnected from that which you are. I'm going to say that again. You can never be disconnected from that which you are. You can make it up that way. You can act like you are. You can think you're a spark. But that doesn't nullify the truth. And therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. There's that word, prosperity. You want to learn more about that? There's a class coming up. Okay? It's very important. Okay? So it's from that awareness of our divinity we can heal. We can be more prosperous. Course in Miracles says it this way. True prayer must avoid the pitfall of asking to entreat. Ask rather to receive what is already given, to accept what is already there. To accept what is already there. Are you getting the theme going here? It's already there. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to be good to get it. You're not going to lose it if you're bad. It's there. That's what you are. Okay? And in unity, we do not entreat. We're not asking God. We're moving to the awareness of God. We're moving to the awareness of our innate divinity and claiming what is already true. And then the last principle, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. Have you noticed that? I have a friend who did a talk. It was entitled, "Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It." Right? Apparently some of you are familiar with that. Right? So I can know lots of things, but if I don't use it, it's just babble. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. And folks, you're here to know the truth and use it, right? Yeah, and I'm getting a real sense of that in this congregation. You're doing it in the ways in which you're reaching out and helping each other. Of Course in Miracles, a theoretical foundation such as the text provide is necessary, yet it is doing the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible. So in the Course in Miracles, you have 365 lessons which are designed to shift your consciousness, which is a process of using the truth you're learning about in the Course in Miracles. And wait till you see why that is so important. So it's important we talk about the distinctions, and one of them is around the ego. There is in our common cultural knowledge today that the ego is something bad. And much of the writing of the Course in Miracles actually supports that. In fact, it says the ego is idolatry, the sign It should be the sign of a limited and separate self, born in a body, doomed to suffer and to end its life in death. Whew. Pathetic, isn't it? I mean, wow. Wow. And the Course emphasizes this because it's important we know about the downside. However, Unity does have a teaching that's that way. It's called the adverse ego, and this is how Fillmore talked about it. When the ego attaches itself to sense consciousness, that means when we have an outer orientation instead of an inner, we have an outside in instead of an inside out way of living. This is known as the adverse ego. It is the adverse ego that causes all the trouble in the world. Not only in the world, folks, but in you, in your consciousness. You see, we're always afraid about what we're going to put out because we're going to get it back. You're too late. What you put out is already in. I mean, isn't it? What you put out is already in. And every time you put it out, you're reinforcing it in your consciousness by the law of mind action. Stop. However, Unity has another way to look at the ego. I call it the supportive ego. And Fillmore said this: the I, the ego is man. The ego is humankind. And by reason of his divinity, okay, you've got it now that you're divine, right? By reason of his divinity, he makes and remakes as he wills. Do you notice you do that? You can remake and remake your life until you get it the way you want it. In this lie his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. The ego of itself is possessed of nothing. It is a mere ignorant child of innocence floating in the mind of being. See, the ego isn't something separate out there. It's just a belief system in your consciousness, and your consciousness is in the oneness of the mind. But through the door of the ego's consciousness, or that part of you that thinks it's an ego, must pass all the treasures of God. What does that say? Without your ego, you'd be like a boneless chicken. Just flopped over that fence. Now, who here wants to be a boneless chicken, right? You need your ego. I can't get up here. You can't do your beautiful singing. We need our egos. We just need to get rid of that adverse part. And this is an important one around the body. God did not make, so this is from A Course in Miracles, God did not make the body because the body, it is destructible, and therefore it is not of the kingdom. The body is the symbol of what you think you are. It is clearly a separation device and therefore does not exist. That's almost as big a downer as the ego for A Course in Miracles, right? What? This doesn't exist? Oof. Okay, but the important thing is that God doesn't make the body, and in traditional religions, God made the body. There's something similar, though, in Unity. The body is the outer expression of consciousness, the precipitation of the thinking part of man, not the precipitation of the thinking part of God. God created the idea of the body of man as a self-perpetuating, self-renewing organism, which man reconstructs into his personal body. God creates the body idea. I would say God is the body idea or divine idea, and man, by his thinking, makes it manifest. See? Consciously or unconsciously, we are manifesting our physical bodies. God is the idea we're using to do that. So in Unity, God is involved. In Course in Miracles, not at all. So there's a quite important distinction there. And then let's talk about the synergy. So in Unity, the most focus is on developing Christ consciousness. And the tool we use that is called the 12 powers, which I'm going to be teaching next week. How do we use these 12 innate abilities to raise our consciousness, to raise the overall quality of our thoughts, ideas, and beliefs and images we hold in mind? The Course in Miracles is focused on undoing the ego's belief system. So I would say undo the adverse ego. Now, Unity talks about the adverse ego, but emphasis is on Christ consciousness. Course in Miracles talks about getting rid of the adverse ego, but there is plenty of teaching about raising consciousness. So you can see with them each having a different emphasis, working together might be a helpful thing. And then we get to nothing else matters if you do just this one thing. Astrology doesn't matter. Karma doesn't matter. Even your beliefs don't matter. Past lives don't matter. Whatever, if you believe in making these arrangements with others before you come in, none of that matters. If you do this one thing. And this is the thing I love the most about both, because it will make your life simple. Are you ready for simple? Unity says it first this way: be the best you can be, the best Christ you can be. Course in Miracles says everything is either love or a call for love. Everything is either love or a call for love. What does that mean? That means that no matter how anybody is interacting with you, they're either expressing love to you or in an indirect, unskillful way asking you to love them. So if someone is showing up in a way you don't like, underneath that, they're really saying, please love me. Now that is simple, because if everything is either an expression of love or a call for love, then what are we called to do? Love, okay? Our ego wants to say, well, with James, I have to be this way. With Dina, I have to be this way. With you, I have to be that way. And with you, oh my God, I don't even want to be with you. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? Simple. I love this. So let me tie the connection better. So in Unity, we'd be looking at Scripture, and we know
All right, my friends. It is, I'm sure there's maybe 5-10 more minutes before we get to another song from the lady, but it is about 10 after 8. So our choices are we try and finish, or I can try and pick up where we left off next time. What do you want to do?
I have another Zoom that I need to go to, so I would be bowing out, but if everyone else wants to stay and listen, I've listened to it once already.
Okay. Any other comments? Somebody help us. Spirit speaks.
We can bow out now.
All right. Is it worth finishing next time?
I liked his
Probably heard
summation
most
of it.
eh?
Okay. So I'll plan on, we'll try and pick up where we left off or close to it to start off next time. And and I'll try and get us ready for special messages to Helen. And I wish you a good week, and thanks for being here. Any final comments from you?
Thank you.
Yeah, it was all great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Jim.
So keep smiling, guys, right?
Right.
It works. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a
everybody
blessed
have a
week.
good week.
Good night. Namaste.
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 Namaste.